dreams just random images fired from an unconscious brain during sleep? Or something much more important, like life-saving inner guidance? How dreams can be healing and early warning tools for disease, financial crisis, or success. And love is still one of the behavioral science's greatest unanswered questions. Hello, I'm your host, author Kat O'Keefe Kanavos. Welcome to Dreaming Healing, where dreams and cutting-edge scientific research meet on syndicated Dream Vision 7 radio network. Dreaming Healing is every Tuesday at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern, with live shows on the first and third evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, when you can call in and ask Kat questions about your amazing dreams. Talk on air. Call toll-free 833-220-1200. That's 833-220-1200. Come live your dreams out loud with Kat.
Good evening, everyone. I am so glad you're here. This is a live video, so if you're only listening right now and you'd like to watch us, you can go to my website by Googling The Queen of Dreams. That's thequeenofdreams.com, and it'll bring you to my website, KathleenO'KeefeCanavos.com. It'll take you right there. And if you look up in the right-hand corner, you'll see a little button that'll say Dream Vision 7. Click that button. It'll take you to my website on dreamvision7radionetwork.com, and scroll down and you'll see a little TV with antennae. It'll say YouTube. Click that and you'll get to watch me live right now. Okay? So, welcome to the Mayhem to Miracles book launch show number 4 with Dr. Bernie Siegel and his flat tire miracle. Do miracles even still happen? Are they real, or are they just kind of like wishful thinking on our part or our imagination? Tonight, we speak with Mayhem to Miracles Sacred Stories of Transformational Hope author, Dr. Bernie Siegel, who was also in our other 2 books, Chaos to Clarity and Crappy to Happy. He's been in all 3 books. And so they were all Amazon bestsellers. And our latest book, Mayhem to Miracles, is still #1 in new releases. So grab your box of tissues and join us as we cry, cringe, and laugh our way through the real life stories of everyday miracles. And today we're going to be focusing on Bernie's flat tire miracle. But first, let's start the show with our favorite meditation and protection clearing. So for those of you who have done this before, you know what we're going to do. But if you're new and watching for the first time or listening for the first time, we're going to take 3 deep breaths in. We're going to hold them, and we're going to blow them out across the room into the purple flame of Saint Germain, where they're going to get converted into beautiful golden light and get returned to the universe. That way we're not littering. And then we're going to imagine holding a power gift in our hand. Your power gift can be anything you want it to be. It can be a piece of jewelry that was given to you by a deceased loved one. This is my mother's wedding ring. It can be your favorite flower. In a dream, my spirit guide monks gave me a dandelion as my flower. It can be your favorite stone. It can be anything you want it to be that's powerful to you. And you don't have to actually have it in your hand. You can just imagine holding it, okay? And we're going to use it to create a mirrored bubble around us that's only going to allow that which is of the highest and best to come in. Okay? Are you ready? All right. Feel yourself getting grounded in your chair. Sit comfortably, kind of let your shoulders just relax. Take a deep breath in. Hold it. Imagine any negativity, any little specks of negativity connecting to that breath of life, and blow it out across the room. Empty your lungs. Take another breath in. Really deep breath. See any little negativities like little pieces of pepper, something you said to someone, something they said to you that made you not feel good. Blow it out across the room. One more time, deep breath in. really deep. Fill your lungs. Imagine anything that maybe happened in your childhood, something someone said to you when you were little, something that even happened in the grocery store. Blow it out across the room into the purple flame of Saint Germain. See all those breaths of life going into that purple flame, getting converted into beautiful golden light and being returned to the universe. Now, I want you to imagine holding your gift, your power gift in your hand and swing it all around your body, all around you, creating this beautiful bubble, mirrored bubble. And inside that bubble is all this golden healing light. Only that which is of the highest and best and brought by our spirit guides and guardian angels may come into that bubble. Everything else is reflected back from whence it came. We wish it so, and therefore it is. When you're ready, slowly open your eyes. In the meantime, just listen to my voice. Do miracles still happen in 2021, or are they a thing of the past, only referred to in the Bible? Dr. Bernie Siegel is with us tonight, and he has been in all three of the Sacred Stories series of books. And he's here to share his insights on miracles in Mayhem to Miracles, Sacred Stories of Transformational Hope. And Bernie says, yes, miracles do still happen. So let me tell you a little bit about Bernie and his story in the book before we actually bring him in. Dr. Bernie Siegel has touched many lives all over the planet. He began talking about empowerment and the choice to live fully and die in peace. As a physician, surgeon, whose own mortality was threatened by illness, Bernie embraces a philosophy of living and dying that stands at the forefront of the medical ethics and spiritual issues which our society grapples today. You can actually learn more about Bernie at www.berniesiegelmd.com, and that's BernieSiegelMD.com. And again, if you go to my Dreaming Healing website on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, you can scroll down and see his long bio there with all of the links being hot, which means you can just click them and you'll go right to his website. So Dr. Bernie Siegel's story in the book Mayhem to Miracles, Sacred Stories of Transformational Hope, is titled Spiritual Flat Tires, Miracles of Life. And it's about how life's flat tires can be a life-saving miracle rather than a curse. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Dr. Bernie Siegel, who chooses to only be called Bernie.
Did the introduction use up the whole show?
Almost, Bernie, but there'll be plenty of time for you. Plenty of time for you. So,
well, you know, I mean, so many things have happened to me in my life. It's hard for me to not, start telling stories.
Take it away, Bernie. Go for it.
It's, all I can say is it's true. Life is a mystery, but not anymore to me. I know God. And so I can be comfortable with things as they are. But I also know the potential that God has put in us. But one of the things I have to say, and this is from God, a perfect world is not creation, it's a magic trick. You're here to live and learn. Because one of the things I felt as a surgeon was, why do you give all these problems to people? And especially I did a lot of children's surgery. So why would God have a child created with all kinds of defects in heart, intestine, needing surgery when they're a day old? And that was God's statement to me. He said, Bernie, if the world were perfect, what would you all be doing? Nothing. You'd all be bored. You wouldn't know what to do with your time. That we're here to live and learn. And then it also gives what we're doing meaning. You know, that when you choose to help someone and be there for them. And I realized that the potential was put into us to have amazing things happen. And I don't call them, even though I use the word miracles because people are used to it, it's really self-induced healing. It's what happens to people when they really get their life in order. And that includes the flat tires, you see, because on September 11th, when the World Trade Center came crashing down, there were several people whose stories were in the newspaper. You get up in the morning, your wife says, honey, before you go to work today, you have to take the kid to school or the doctor or go get, you know, and he was so, what are you doing? I got to get to work. Why are you, giving? Well, then he learns when he gets to work late, my wife saved my life by giving me that chore to do. So I'm late and I miss being in the building when the plane crashes. And my parents, which drove me a little nuts, especially when you're a kid. I had a terrible day today. Everything went wrong. What would I hear? God is redirecting you. Something good will come of this. Ma, did you hear what I told you? I mean, I couldn't believe, what kind of mother is this? You don't say, you poor kid, let me hug you. Maybe we'll work something out. No, God is drove me nuts. But then I always remember as I grew up, Norman Vincent Peale became a friend. And he said, Bernie, my mother used to say, Norman, if God slams one door, further down the corridor, another will be open. And
that is so true.
Yeah, and I realized they were training me to deal with life's difficulties, and Jung said it in another way. He said, the future is unconsciously prepared long in advance and therefore can be guessed by clairvoyance. So there are times where what you say, something went wrong. I mean, and I don't make up any stories because I deal with so many people who tell me all these things. This fellow was fired from his job. He's driving home and his car breaks down. So he's standing in the street. He doesn't know what the hell to do. He's in the middle of nowhere. And the guy pulls up and says, can I help you? And he said, yeah, my car broke down. And he said, well, let me take you to a garage and then they can come back with you and work on their car. And while they're driving, he said, how's the day going? He said, oh, I was fired today from a job. Really? What was it? And he tells him. And the guy said, oh, I'm looking for somebody who does that. And he hires him. And you'd say, look at that. You're fired, your car breaks down, and you get a job before the day is over. And again, as Elizabeth Kubler-Ross would always say to me, Bernie, there are no coincidences. So we have to remember, we are creating our future all the time. And you may not like things that happen, but I mean, I'm almost laughing inside of things that happened to me. I had to go give a lecture one night and the directions were from a woman and they never
dear.
Exactly right. It's like go down a little and then go to the left a little. You know what I mean?
You see the birdhouse. Yeah, take a right at the birdhouse.
Some guy, you go 3/4 of a mile, turn left 150 feet, then, you know what I mean? So anyway, I'm lost. And a guy comes by, I waved to him. I said, hey, do you know where this street is? He said, no, I don't, but I can send you to the police station. I know where that is. But where do you think the police station was? On the street I was supposed to be on. So I drive to the police station. I see the sign. I said, I'm here. And I drive down a little ways and there's the place I'm supposed to be. So, again, I'd say those are no coincidences. Or I've had a car in front of me when I was lost one day that the license plate said, I'm lost. So I drove over to the guy and said, okay, can you help me? And he was very helpful. He knew all about where I had to go. And I'd say if you can live that way, it makes it a hell of a lot easier. And as I say, especially if you can train your children, when I say train, I mean it's like therapy, so that it's in their brain, that they're not judging. So I grew up with what I learned with therapeutic comments that often had me sitting on my bed talking to God, because I didn't consider them therapeutic. You know, what should I do? Do what makes you happy. I'm looking for help to make a decision. And all I get is do what makes you happy, you know, and then God is redirecting you. And the last, which also I learned later in life, was very therapeutic. My father's father had tuberculosis, no insurance, 6 children and a wife who died, and they were destitute. And I heard stories about the horrors they went through to survive. And one day I heard my father say in an interview, "How could you say that was one of the best things that ever happened to you?" And he said, "It taught me what was important about life." And so for him, helping people was. So when I had decisions to make, it was, is it going to help people? And one day when I said to him, "I have to thank you for paying my tuition, the rent," because my wife, Bobby, and I got married when I was in school and she just graduated and I was still going to medical school. So I didn't have a penny and neither did she. So he was paying our rent and part of the tuition and things like that. And I said, "I feel so guilty." He said, "Don't, because if I don't want to help you, I'll say no." And that came up from a psychiatrist later on when people had AIDS. He said, one of the most important things in the immune competent personality, because he put something together saying, "I'm noticing there are certain people who do very well." It's part of what I saw with cancer patients. And he wrote their personalities up. And one was, you're asked to do a favor for a friend you do not want to do. What do you tell them? The correct answer is no. But, and any nurses that are watching this, learn to say no, because they have a very hard time with their personalities. I'm saying this again from speaking at conventions. When you have hundreds of nurses and you say, "How many of you would say no? Raise your hand." And you get 5 hands going up at hundreds. And that ain't healthy. So, and again, hearing from people with life-threatening illnesses, they didn't say, "Do what makes you happy," but they said, "I put on my refrigerator, let your heart make up your mind," which is saying the same thing, you know, paying attention to feelings and loving yourself. Another miracle. You have polio as a child, your body's deformed. You never like it. And she said, then I develop a neurological disease that I'm told I'm going to die of. And I thought, I don't want to die disliking myself and my body. So she said, I started to lay down naked in front of a mirror and love my body. I started on my toes and I'd go up inch by inch. And of course, what happened? She went into complete remission and didn't die.
Oh my goodness.
I know that works.
Yeah.
I don't remember to do it often enough myself, but I fill my heart with love and then tell it to pump it out to my body, to love it.
That's a great exercise for our audience. If you're listening.
Yeah.
Yeah, just self-love is so important. If you don't love yourself, how can you expect anybody else to love you?
Yeah. And most of the people I have met who were either, well, think of, what's her name? Helen Keller. You're born blind and not born, but at age 3, you're blind and deaf.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like, oh, what did God do to me? Look at my, I mean, what she wrote and the book called My Religion. I mean, it's just, God was her friend who helped her. And she was such a teacher for everybody. Every kid should be told to read her book. So if things happen to them, they would learn from them.
How do you think hope played into this, Bernie? How do you think hope played into Helen Keller and all these other stories you're telling us about?
It's something in them. I think it's a connection with the divine, that, God isn't punishing you. See, that was something I have had to work on in my lifetime. In the past life, I was a knight in Ireland killing. And when a friend over the phone, this is when I learned it. I mean, these things didn't come out of therapy for me. A friend said to me on the phone one day when I said, I don't have time to talk, I have an interview coming up. She said, why are you living this life? And I went into a trance because she said, why are you living this life? And I said to her, oh my God. She said, did I upset you? I said, I see myself with a sword. And maybe a month or two later, my wife didn't go with me. I flew cross country. So I'm sitting alone, with no friend next to me on a plane for hours. And I went into a trance and saw this whole thing that I've written about in a book called 3 Men, 6 Lives. But it was a horror. And to make a long story short, in it, my Lord said to me, I want you to kill the neighbor's daughter. He's causing a mess on our property, our land. He doesn't listen to me. I want to teach him a lesson. I said, why don't I kill him? What do you want, the daughter? He said, no, I want to teach him a lesson. Kill his daughter. I said, what if I don't? Then I'll kill you. I said, all right, I'm going. And who do you think the daughter was? My wife in this life. That was one of the most horrendous. I mean, the grief was incredible. I cried for 3 hours after I saw this. And the only way I can describe it to people is it's like I was sitting in a movie theater watching myself in this movie doing this, but it was all there, real in front of me.
Because you remembered it from that previous lifetime.
What made me realize, see, the solution, and I'll tell you why, it was my wife and I marrying. But anyway, I was so stricken with grief, I went to see a Jungian therapist to help me. And as soon as I started the story, my Lord said, Bernie, you hear what you're saying? What? Your Lord. I said, yeah, it's the Lord of the castle. No, Bernie, it's your Lord. You need to go home and relive this. And I did. And so when the Lord, and I can tell you, I knew he was right, because I've always questioned Abraham and Jesus. Why would you have your kid, sacrificed? Why didn't Abraham say to God, take me, leave my kid alone? That's what I would have said. If I were Jesus, with my sense of humor, I would have jumped off the cross and said, you see what I can do? Why don't you people pay attention to me instead of crucifying me? It may sound crazy.
It goes to show you that even Jesus had mayhem. But hold on to that thought, Bernie, because we have to go to a commercial. We're at 22 past. We don't go away. We're going to be right back. You're listening to Dreaming Healing on dreamvision7radio.com. And I'm your host, Kathleen O'Keefe Kanavos, AKA the Queen of Dreams. You can type that into your Google search bar and my website will come right up. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
What if dreams can diagnose your life? What if we can meet the love of our life in dreams? Join host Kat O'Keefe Kanavos, the #1 internationally best-selling author of Dreams That Can Save Your Life, written with Duke University medical doctor Larry Burke. Dreaming Healing is where we'll explore dreams, research, and interpret dreams from you, the caller. Dreaming Healing shows can be heard every Tuesday at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern, with live shows on the first and third evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific Time on syndicated Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. Come live your dreams out loud with Kat.
Omega Institute, offering workshops, retreats, and online learning dedicated to awakening the best in the human spirit. For over 40 years, Omega has seen more than 1 million people come through its doors to grow, learn, and find a greater sense of purpose. With over 350 workshops to choose from, Omega offers something for everyone. Located in Rhinebeck, New York, just 90 miles north of New York City, Omega's natural environment and quiet pace allow for extraordinary experiences to unfold. Learn more at eomega.org or call 877-944-2002. Again, 877-944-2002.
Have you met your physician within yet? The Nautilus and multi-award-winning book, Surviving Cancerland: Intuitive Aspects of Healing, is a memoir that takes you down the rabbit hole of healing dreams and interpretations, mixed with conventional medicine and treatments. Listen to the hookah-puffing caterpillar ask, "Who are you?" Dr. Bernie Siegel says Kathleen's story is powerful, honest, and eye-opening. Surviving Cancerland: Intuitive Aspects of Healing by 3-time breast cancer survivor Kathleen O'Keefe Kanavos. Buy the book and audio at KathleenO'KeefeKanavos.com and worldwide through Amazon and other retailers.
Ever had a strange dream? Nautilus Award winner, Dreams That Can Save Your Life, Early Warning Signs of Cancer and Other Diseases by Kathleen O'Keefe Kanavos and Duke University radiologist Dr. Larry Burke, forward by Dr. Bernie Siegel, shares how people like you self-advocated in the face of adversity and won using dreams. Read life-saving dream stories validated by medical reports. Hear how dreams of dead loved ones saved lives. Use interpretations and journaling as roadmaps in your waking world for health, wealth, and love. Dreams That Can Save Your Life, Early Warning Signs of Cancer and Other Diseases. Buy the audio and book at KathleenO'KeefeKanavos.com in English and Italian worldwide and through Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and other retailers.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
Welcome back to the second segment of Dreaming Healing on DreamVision7Radio.com. I'm your host, Kathleen O'Keefe Kanavos, but everybody calls me Kat, so I hope you will too. And today we are discussing Mayhem to Miracles with Dr. Bernie Siegel, who wants to be called Bernie. So that's what we're going to do during this show. So Bernie, just before the break, we were talking about Mayhem, and I want to go and read.
Well, let me say this, because the story I was telling really fits it perfectly. You know, I was torn apart, killing in this past life, my wife who in this life, all these things that were just horrible. And as I said, when the therapist said, you have to understand it's your Lord, go and relive this. And I did. I went home, sat quietly. My Lord came and said, I want you to kill the neighbor's daughter. I said, all right, I'm going. And the Lord said, no, Bernie, I just wanted to know you had faith in me so I could trust you. Go and bring them here so we can resolve this problem. And to make a long story short, what's a wonderful solution? You and the young lady get married. Then we'll give you the land that we're fighting over as a wedding present. And there's nothing for us to fight over anymore. We're all one family. And I really knew that my wife and I marrying in this life was a part of the solution, because my wife was so pretty, I never would have asked her out on a date. It was like somebody else was in charge. But we were both counselors at a camp. To show you the discrepancy, I was the lowest rated counselor in first grade boy care. She was the chief counselor in first grade girl care. See, and we were watching the kids, and I said to her, it's really nice that the camp leaves the pool open at night, because it was in our neighborhood. It was a day camp. And she said, are you asking me on a date? And I wasn't. I was just saying it's nice the pool's open at night. And I thought,
Are you sure you weren't, Bernie? Are you sure you weren't asking her on a date?
no, I wasn't. Because, yeah, as I say, she was so pretty. And I wasn't known as some special, wonderful guy.
Oh, come on, Bernie. You mean to tell me at that time in your life you were not a stud muffin?
Well, I was a college student. I got a job at a camp. I had no experience. I like kids. That was the part. Yeah, let me tell you what that meant to some of the kids. But anyway, when she said, are you asking me on a date? I said, oh, yeah, sure. She said, okay. And that's, you see, you talk about no coincidences.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we end up years later being married. And the camp, because of how I had grown up, knowing how awful it felt when you weren't picked to be on a team, or you were not a wonderful athlete or something, I would always pick the chubbiest, clumsiest, uncoordinated kids on my team. So if we had a baseball game, all right, Stewart, he'd be my first pick, and he had no talent, big chubby kid. But what I saw happening is now when we were having games or contests, they weren't hiding in the corner all upset. Nobody's going to pick me, because they were right up front knowing, oh, Bernie's going to pick me first. And the parents would come in and say, I don't understand why the kids like camp this year. It's no different. And I said, it's because of how I'm treating them. Somebody's loving them and not rejecting them because they're overweight, clumsy, can't catch a baseball. I mean, things like that. But it came from my past on the streets of Brooklyn, where I wasn't the greatest athlete. So I had to wait till they picked me for their team. And I knew how that felt. But again, it's the things you learn and to use them. And if we
These
grow
stories
up,
of life.
yeah, well, let me
Stories
give
of life.
a study from Harvard students. They were asked, did your parents love you? If they said no, 98% had suffered a major illness by middle age. If they said yes, 24% had suffered a major illness. So, loving. And I taught our kids too, because we had 5 kids. And I made a lot of noise when they were causing trouble, which was quite frequent. And one of them said to me one day, are you getting a divorce? I said, what kind of stupid question is that? You yell a lot and the neighbors are getting divorced, and they yelled. I said, I'm yelling because I don't like your behavior. I love you, but I don't like your behavior. And I also gave another one great credit, because he came to me, he said, I don't get 20% of your time. I said, what are you
20%? He knew the percentage.
Yeah. I said, what are you talking about? He said, you have 5 children, we should each get 20%. I said, your brother is driving us crazy, so he gets 40%. But the thing I felt really happy about was he had the courage to walk up and say, you don't love me as much as my brother. Because he was a sweet kid, no problem, in the last bedroom at the end of the hall. So he could interpret it as, they don't love me. Look where they put me. And look where that brother is.
Well, these are all like emotional flat tires.
Everybody can watch them. Yeah.
Yeah, these are like emotional flat tires that you're talking about here in the book. And this was actually a physical one. So I want to actually read something that you wrote here in your story. You write, this is called Emotional Flat Tires by Bernie Siegel. I'm reading it right out of the book. I was being driven to the airport by a nice lady who had attended my lecture, when lo and behold, one of the tires on the vehicle suddenly deflated. A flat tire is not what I need when I'm trying to make a tight flight, I said to myself. I told her to get the jack and I would change the tire. I'm sorry, My husband has a jack in his car, she answered. While we stood waiting for help from anyone at all, a young man drove up. So you take it from there, Bernie. How did this spiritual flat tire turn into a miracle that saved your life?
I mean, my first thought was, a typical woman. The jack is in her husband's car. So how's that going to help us? And I had no way of helping myself. So I'm going to miss the plane. Everything will be a mess. And this young man pulled up and said, can I help you? I said, we got a flat and no jack. I can't do anything. Oh, I'll take care of it. He changed the tire so fast. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I don't know whether he was in the automotive business, but boom, it was changed. We got to the airport, made the plane. But to me, that's what makes me a believer in faith, that God sent him. He changes the tire. Off I go to the airport, and you could get into why is he driving by at that moment, at that day, and on and on. But faith makes a difference. And I can tell you, one of the women who had cancer as a patient, and one of my partners said, hey, Bernie, come in here. You're interested in this stuff. I went in the room. He said, her cancer, the pancreas is gone. I can't feel it at all. She had a large tumor. I said, tell him what you did. She said, oh, I said, yeah, I know, but tell him. She said, I left my troubles to God. That was her treatment. And you think of that faith, the peace that came into her life with that. And that's the part I woke up to. See, Solzhenitsyn in his book, Cancer Ward, and it's crazy to say this, but I tell people, read fiction if you want to know the truth, because they are observing life and writing about it. And I would get so criticized by doctors when I would, like a poem called Miss G about cancer. The doctor says to his wife, cancer is a funny thing. Childless women get it. Men, when they retire, it's as if there had to be an outlet for their full creative fire. And the doctor yells, because it rhymes doesn't make it true. But it is statistically true. Like Monday morning, we have more heart attacks, strokes, suicides, and illnesses. So what's going on in your life? And the healing, I found that the people who didn't die when they were supposed to, and I would meet them when I was out lecturing, they would say, well, every doctor was giving me disappointing news, so what's the point of going back to the office? They weren't talking about me. I would never tell them, disappointing news. I was always giving hope. And what I realized was they changed their life. See, when we talk about growing up with love, these are true stories. I always say I don't make them up. You want to be a violinist, and your parents say, no, we want a lawyer so we can be proud to tell our neighbors our son is a lawyer. Well, he developed cancer, and he shut his office and started playing the violin, got the job in an orchestra. Cancer disappears. See? And I can go on telling stories,
Oh, I know, Bernie, you are full of stories, but I want you to tell our audience in your story, Spiritual Flat Tires. Again, I'm actually reading from his story in the book. However, when we arrived at the airport, we learned I had missed my flight by only a few minutes. My reaction was not a happy one until I learned the flight I missed had crashed after taking off. So Bernie, take us there. What did you feel? First, you're angry because you missed your flight. And then you realize if you hadn't had that flat tire, what would have happened?
Well, what I learned is I was, in a sense, living the sermon, that you have to realize that what I'm speaking and talking about really happens. And I have to learn to accept that message, that if I missed the flight, there was a reason I missed the flight. It didn't have to crash. I mean, it could have been something else, some disease on board or some, maniac who shoots somebody. But it's, again, to learn that God is redirecting you. Something good will come of this. and to just stop judging and let's see what happens. You know, keep an open mind, and it changes your life.
How would this apply, Bernie, to maybe our audience listening right now who are saying, well, you know, I ended up losing the house I wanted, or I'm getting kicked out of the house I'm in, or my car broke down, and getting angry at all these things that are happening. How can your story fit into what they're going through as a means of hope and a positive miracle?
Well, the trouble is they don't know what would have happened if what they wanted happened. You know what I mean? That's why I say, to listen to my mother say, God is redirecting you, something good will come of this. Or Norman Vincent Peale's mother, if God slams one door, further down the corridor, another will be open. So what you need to do is say, okay, it happened. What I wanted didn't happen. But let's see what door opens up, you know, down the road to help me.
Because it could be a miracle.
And I've met people, Max Cleland, he wrote a book.
Don't go into a story yet, Bernie. Hold on to that story. We got to go to another break. I mean, this radio show is just flying by so quickly. And I just realized that you couldn't see me at the very beginning of this show, but that's what happens when you have a live show. So you see me now, and we are going to be right back. So don't go away. You're listening to Dream Healing on dreamvision7radio.com. And I'm your host, Kathleen O'Keefe Kanavos, AKA the Queen of Dreams. Don't go away. We'll be right back with Dr. Bernie Siegel.
That every word you speak matters. What you say and how you say it can make or break a relationship or shift the outcome of any situation. Are your conversations making a difference? Faith in God, gratitude, authenticity, and giving are Teresa Velarde's heart. It's in this spirit that she's focused on making a difference in the lives she's blessed to touch. Conversations That Make a Difference is now on syndicated Dream Vision 7 radio network every Tuesday at 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern Time, with live call-in shows every first and third Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern.
Darkest hours to brightest moments, transformation from despair to happiness, and chaos to clarity. Real people, real pain, real healing. Life-threatening illness, death, abusive relationships, divorce, and overcoming addiction are challenges these men and women faced head-on. See how they emerged stronger and happier. Buy the new book, Chaos to Clarity, Sacred Stories of Transformational Change by Reverend Patricia Caginello and Kathleen O'Keefe Kanavos. Available on sacredstoriespublishing.com and worldwide through Amazon and other retailers.
Are miracles real? Can you move from mayhem to miracles? 30 prominent authors say yes as they share their high fives and down lows of challenges, abuse, addiction, and love. Experience hope, the magic elixir of miracles, through the personal stories of New York Times bestselling authors James Redfield, Dr. Bernie Siegel, Sister Jenna, Reverend Temple Hayes, and many more. If you like bestsellers, Chaos to Clarity, and Crappy to Happy, you'll love crying and laughing through Mayhem to Miracles. Sacred Stories of Transformational Hope. Available now on Amazon and in bookstores worldwide.
Why are we here? How can we be happy? Questions asked from millennials to boomers. Crappy to Happy, Sacred Stories of Transformational Joy answers them using true stories of grit, grace, and love. James Redfield, author of The Celestine Prophecy, wrote in the foreword, "This book is a seminar about emerging truths and offers grounded solutions through the art of the comeback." Dr. Bernie Siegel, a contributing author, wrote, "Bodies die, but spirits and consciousness survive and recycle." So grab some tissues, open your book, and prepare to cry and laugh till it heals. Crappy to Happy by Reverend Ariel Patricia and Kathleen O'Keefe Kanavos. Available from Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and booksellers worldwide.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
Welcome back to the third section of Dreaming Healing on Dream Vision 7 Radio. I'm your host, Kat Kanavos, and we are discussing Mayhem to Miracles, Sacred Stories of Transformational Hope, with our beloved Dr. Bernie Siegel, who only wants to be called Bernie. So I'm going to only call him Bernie. And just before the break, we were talking about, flat tires don't have to just be real flat tires.
Right.
It can be flat tires in life,
Simple, yeah.
when things don't go the way you want them to go. But that flat tire could be a miracle.
Yeah.
And so Bernie was talking about that just before we had to go to break. So Bernie, you were also talking about something that you wrote in the book here. When I submit to what others impose upon me, I lose my life and its meanings. And you've been talking a lot about that during this radio interview. So
one thing is faith, hope, and love. So when things happen to you, you can still live with faith, hope, and love. But the other is when you don't receive love from others, but they impose things on you. This is what I want from you. This is how we want you to dress. This is what we want you to become. This is what we want you to do. You're losing your life. And I'm always trying to help people live and keep their authentic life and not wait for a disaster. I mean, this line makes you smile, but fella thought he was going to be dead in a couple of months. He said, I'm moving to Colorado. I love the mountains. It's beautiful there. I want to die there. I said to the family, don't forget to call me for the funeral. A year goes by, I don't get a phone call. So I was very annoyed with the family. And I called up to tell them, I said I wanted to come. He answered the phone. These were his words to me. Bernie, it was so beautiful here, I forgot to die. And everybody laughs when they hear that. But that's what changed how I acted as a doctor, because I began to realize these are not coincidences. I was going to tell you something from Solzhenitsyn's book, Cancer Ward. See, what would another doctor say if he walked into the office after moving to Colorado? Oh, you had a spontaneous remission. That's stupid. I learned to say to people, how come you didn't die when you were supposed to? And they always had a story to tell you, see? And so I came up with self-induced healing. And that's what Solzhenitsyn put in his book. The symbol is the essence of it. A rainbow-colored butterfly fluttered out of the book that one of the men was reading to the guys on the ward. And he said, look, it says there's self-induced healing, a rainbow-colored butterfly. That's perfect, see? You break out of your cocoon. You're not entrapped anymore. You spread your wings. The rainbow is your life in order. Every color, and I mean this literally, is an emotion. When people are drawing pictures and other things, if you pick up a black, well, just to make you smile again, I would have kids as well as adults draw pictures of themselves in the operating room, their treatment. And one kid came in, the picture was totally black. And I thought, oh, brother, we got a problem here. I said to him, what's going on at home? He said, what do you mean? You drew a picture, it's all black. He said, yeah, I got 3 older brothers. That's the only crayon they give me. So I busted out laughing, because he didn't have a choice. He had 3 older brothers and they had all the other crayons. But it helped me to help the patients. And the doctors at the hospital thought I was nuts. What is a drawing going to tell you? They saw the value and even made coloring books for the kids to do before surgery. And let me tell you the intuitive wisdom. Page 1, you'll meet an anesthesiologist. That's a doctor. He'll be dressed in an outfit that looks like green pajamas. Kid drew him in red. I said to the anesthesiologist, look at the last page. He's telling us there's danger here for him. If he draws himself purple, I cancel the case because that's his spiritual color. He's telling me I'm going to die. And the anesthesiologist looked at me. He said, oh my God. He said, his mother has muscular dystrophy. He could have a gene that gives him an adverse reaction to muscle relaxants and kill him. I said, then look at that last page. And the last page was, I'm not happy that I had surgery, but not anything terrible. So we went ahead with it. But that's what woke people up at the hospital. It's like, how does this kid decide to do that? So I'd say pay attention. It's like what you started this program with, a little bit of meditation. Be in touch with your inner wisdom. And don't be afraid to draw pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Use a box of crayons, draw a picture, and then look at it the next day when you're seeing it as if somebody else drew it then. So
Right.
you'll notice. And it could be anything. Who should I marry? Where should I live? What job should I take? What car should I buy? Just put them all in pictures and you'll see the one that really looks the best.
Yeah. Well, Bernie, you wrote the foreword for the book, first book here, Chaos to Clarity, but you also wrote the foreword for the book that I did with Dr. Larry Burke on dreams that can save your life. And it was you were talking about pictures that children drew of their dreams,
right,
that helped them through their illness. And those dreams give us hope. It's dreams that give us hope to
That's right.
continue when we're in a place in our life where we think that we can't go any further. We're done. We can never give up that hope. And you say here in your books, that in the book here in your story, that when God is happy, miracles happen.
Right. And the miracle is not something, in a sense, unexplainable. It's part of what it takes to create loving, intelligent, conscious energy. All these things are in us. And when they're all used in the proper way,
Mm-hmm.
amazing things happen. And we end up calling them a miracle because we don't know how to explain it, or it's statistically unlikely and things like that. But I realized, as I said in Solzhenitsyn's book, the term is self-induced. It's not spontaneous remission. You're doing something by what you do with your life, and your body is getting a message. And if it's to live, it'll do everything it can to keep you alive. I mean, we're all going to die someday. It's not about never dying. It's about living. And then you end up living a hell of a lot longer than somebody else who doesn't like what's happening every day. See, men, and the other about relationships, women outlive men with the same cancers. And I've had guys sit in the office say, there's no point in living. I can't work anymore. I said, turn your head to the left. He had a wife and 3 children sitting there hearing him say that. There's no point in living. And then there were women who, I can't die till they're all married and out of the house. I kept one woman alive by telling her adult children who said, we don't visit our mother anymore because she has 12 cats. The house stinks and we don't even go there. And so we'll clean the house and then you can start treating her for her cancer. I said, no, you're not going to clean out the house and get rid of the cats, because that's what they had said they were going to do. I said, you'll clean the house, but you leave the cats, and tell your mother, nobody wants 12 cats. Then she can't die. And boy, did they love me. She went on living for years. And every time they'd come in the office, I'd get a big smile. Thank you for telling us that.
Wow. I mean, basically you're saying if you die, who's going to take care of all your cats that you love so much? And that was a miracle right there.
One woman who had 9 kids said, I can't die till they're all married and out of the house. 20 years later, the last kid left and her cancer came back. That shocked the hell out of me, because I thought 20 years, it's got to be gone. And then, no, she said, my child is gone. Now I can go. And the cancer comes back. That, blows me away. But those are the things that impressed me. And other doctors would always say, that's crazy. How can I believe that? But I became a storyteller because I don't want to fight with people over statistics. Mm-hmm. I tell a story, they don't feel threatened. And yet it's true. So that's what, and let me say,
and that's what you've done in all your books. You've
lots of people, are so afraid of the mayhem that they never have the miracle because they're afraid of failing. What if I don't do it right and I don't have the miracle? See, then I'm not as good as all the people in that book. And that shocked me when I sent 100 letters to people with cancer saying, you want to live a longer, better life, come to a meeting. See, it's like people are having a mayhem, and I sent them a letter saying, you want to have a miracle, come to a meeting. 12 women showed up. I thought,
no men, just women?
No men, 12 women. I thought, I'm trying to help them, and what the hell are they afraid of? And what they're afraid of, I could do it wrong. You want me to draw pictures. I have to answer questions. I have to talk about, see, the men are mechanical. Sometimes men would come to the support group with their wife and you'd go around and say, introduce yourself. I'm her chauffeur. And everybody in the room busts out laughing. And they'd say, what's so funny? We've been hearing that for years. It's totally lack of emotion. I'm her chauffeur. And it's what 95% of the men said. One of them loved his wife and wrote a beautiful poem called The Chauffeur that I put in one of my books because he saw it as being in the journey with her, and not a mechanical thing, but they're traveling together through this difficulty that she's confronting. And when the women, you said to the women, why are you here? I love my husband. I'm here to help him. Yeah.
And so maybe those wives were the miracles for the husbands.
Right.
But we've come to the end of our time, Bernie. I know that you probably have 100 more stories you could share, but we're completely out of time. So I do want to thank you for being on the show. And I'm going to tell everybody who is listening or watching today, you can pre-order Bernie's story in Mayhem to Miracles, Sacred Stories of Transformational Hope on Amazon. Be one of the first ones to get it for Christmas. Buy it for family members, friends who are in mayhem and need to see how Bernie turned those mayhems into miracles. Give them to them for Christmas. What an incredible gift.
Right.
So, do miracles.
I was going to say, they can learn on my website, BernieSiegelMD.com, because all the books are listed in different.
All the books are there as well. So yes, miracles are real. And the book Mayhem to Miracles, Sacred Stories of Transformational Hope is full of stories just like Bernie's that prove miracles still happen. Hope is that shining beacon that can change the course of illness, the future, love, our lives. Miracles go hand in hand with hope.
There's
so experience, it's home.
Hope
Experience modern day miracles. In these
Let
books,
me recite that
with
couple
30 people move through mayhem to physical challenges, abuse, relationships, addictions, lost and found love, and more. Bernie, unfortunately, we are out of time. I know I got to have you back.
Well, let me recite a poem for you. You can conclude it. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. That's from Emily Dickinson. It would be a good poem to go with that book, Yeah.
Good.
All
so
right.
good night, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, remember, everybody dreams, but some dreams save lives. Good night.
Thank you for joining us this evening. And a big thanks to our producer. Tune in next time to Dreaming Healing for more cutting-edge research, live dream interpretations, and stories with radio host and award-winning author Kat O'Keefe Kanavos. Listen every Tuesday at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern Time with call-in live shows on the first and third evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific Time on syndicated Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. Remember, everyone dreams, but some dreams save lives. Live your dreams. Find more about Kat at KathleenO'KeefeCanavos.com. That's Kathleen with a K. OKEEFEKANAVOS. Or The Queen of Dreams on Google search.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.